everyone, this is Dave Dubeau with another episode of the Property Profits Real Estate Podcast. Today we've got an investor spotlight special episode with our friend Demetri Boundris, zooming in all the way from beautiful Stony Creek, Ontario. Demetri, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I appreciate you having me on the podcast today.
My pleasure, my pleasure. So Demetri, you are a very active gentleman when it comes to real estate because you are not only a real estate investor, an active investor yourself, you're also a realtor. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your background in general in this wild and wonderful world that we call real estate investing?
Yeah, sure. So I started real estate investing in 2004. I was 24 years old. Not as aggressive in my 20s, but I invested in single family homes and student rentals. Nice. And duplexes. And then in my 30s, I kind of moved into multifamily and commercial. So that's kind of my background of the investing. And so that was my starts of it.
All right. So you went from, well, first of all, hats off to you. Most 24-year-olds I know are not investing in real estate, myself included. I wasn't that smart when I was 24. So you got off to a good early start. And then you progressed from single family homes into small multifamily properties and then into larger multifamily properties. And you talk about commercial as well. What does that mean to you? What is the difference between multifamily? Because people might have heard of commercial residential real estate and then commercial real estate. What's the difference?
Well, the type of commercial that I've invested in are generally mixed use buildings. So it may have one or two commercial units, and then the additional units are residential. So, for example, like I do have one like five-plex, and it's got 2 commercial units and 3 residential units. So I kind of find those ones they work well for me. It's just if there's a vacancy, it kind of just helps on the residential side if there's a commercial vacancy, and that's the reason why I kind of like them. Yeah,
definitely. No, that makes a lot of sense. So if you can remember way back when, to 2004, when you first got started, Demetri, what was it that sparked your young mind at that time that real estate was a good thing to be investing in? Was there anything that really kind of sparked it?
It was. So I'd read a book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad at the time. And
purple version, right? Way back.
Yeah, the purple version for sure. And it kind of opened my eyes a little bit. And at the time, I just was finishing up college, and I saw that people were renting student homes, and kind of I saw the profits that were being made, but they were renting them per room, and I kind of thought, well, this is pretty good. And what main reason I wanted to invest in real estate was basically for time, and to have some options in my life. So by making some extra cash flow and having some financial freedom down the road from real estate, I could do what I want with my time. And that was the main reason.
No, that makes sense. I mean, most people are getting into real estate investing because they want to create some sort of a freedom from themselves. They want to create time freedom so they can do what they want, when they want, how they want. They want to create, financial freedom so they don't have to worry about where the next paycheck's coming in. They want to create perhaps location freedom so they can live where they want. Yeah, so time freedom was really important for you even at a young age. So yeah, that is great. That's fantastic. So these days you're focusing on what some people would consider to be larger investments, larger deals, multifamily, commercial properties, or mixed use, residential, commercial. Why do you like this strategy? What are some of the big benefits or the pros to doing what you're doing?
The reason why I like it is for, like, as I mentioned too, for vacancy as well as like if I do have, like if, for example, if you have a single family home, if there's a vacancy, you have 100% vacancy. Mm-hmm. But if you have like a 4-plex and you have one vacant unit, it's only a 25% vacancy. So that's one of the reasons why I like it. And it produces a little bit more cash flow as well, like economies of scale. So the more units, generally, it does do that. So that's one of the reasons why I do like it. And
so it lowers your risk.
Lowers my risk.
Yeah, because you've got, like you said, right? If you've got a house that you're renting and you got one family in the house and they move out, now you've got to find another family. And in the meantime, you got to cover all of those expenses. But if you got a fourplex and one of your families moves out, well, you still got three families paying rent until you get somebody else into that vacant unit. So it can carry itself, or at least you're not going negative on that property.
Yes, it definitely, for sure. Because sometimes the fourth unit, for example, may be all your cash flow. So for that time of vacancy, well, we do have a vacancy reserve, of course, that we put aside for that. But generally speaking, it doesn't eat into your cash flow, so it's works out quite well.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Any other big benefits that you enjoy about multifamily investing?
The reason why I like them is because I like to use the BRRRR strategy.
What is that?
So that's the buy, renovate, rent, refinance, and repeat. Okay. And it just works really well on those type of buildings. And it's
on which ones? On the small multis or the commercial mixed use, or both?
It works on both. I just find the more units you have, it works a little better. It just brings the income levels up a lot higher, so it usually qualifies better for the refinance portion. Because basically, with the strategy, we like to be able to refinance our down payment, our renovation money, our closing costs all out of the property at that time. Mm-hmm. So generally speaking, it usually works to pull out about majority of the money, I would say, because now property prices are a little higher, but it works quite well.
All right. So for folks that aren't familiar with the BRRRR strategy, what kind of you're focusing? Let's use your most recent example that comes to mind. Let's say, what kind of a property was it? Was it mixed use, or was it a small multi? What was it that you did your most recent BRRRR
on? Most recent one was a five-plex.
Okay.
And that's what we did the BRRRR on, and it worked quite well. Yeah. We were able to purchase the property by getting some instant equity, by getting a little bit below market, because it was an off-market deal.
So you were buying it directly from the seller. There wasn't another realtor involved.
Yes, that's right. And it does work well. Even on MLS, we found great deals that way as well.
Right.
And then we renovated it and rented it at market rents, and then refinanced, and we were able to get, I believe on that one, about 95% of our money out.
Wow. Yeah.
So it worked out quite well. And yeah.
Oh, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, and we usually do joint ventures now. So the nice part is the partner gets back the majority of their money on the deal, and certainly makes them quite happy.
So for that example of that five-plex, what was this, like an older property that was just kind of in rough shape, or was it mismanaged, or was it a combination of both? What was the situation?
Yeah, this one was kind of a combination of both. It was kind of mismanaged, couple vacancies, really bad shape,
which is quite a bit in a five-plex.
Yeah.
If you got a couple of vacancies, that's significant. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. And the renovations just weren't what they called renovations weren't very good, and kind of need some interior and exterior work. And so it's kind of the properties that we do like.
Yeah, for sure. Was this owned by like a sounds like it was owned by not a professional investor, but kind of like a mom and pop kind of a person?
Yes,
somebody
that's
that
correct.
Inherited it or something like that. But what was the situation with the seller?
Yeah, mom and pop and kind of operation. They tried to self-manage it, but weren't.
So they probably lived in it, and they're renting out some units. Is that kind of?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, so they lived in one unit, rented out the other four, and they just weren't selecting the best tenants. Like they weren't screening them correctly, so they weren't paying rent, and kind of damaged the place and stuff like that. So
so they wanted to get the heck out of Dodge.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, that's what you call a motivated seller. So you're able to get that property at a reasonable price. You saw the opportunity in there because A, it was a bit run down, and B, it was mismanaged. So you bought this particular deal with a joint venture partner, investor partner came on board. They brought in the capital. Yes. You brought the deal. You brought the know-how. You did all the work. How long did it take to turn that property around?
About 9 months.
Okay.
For this project. Yes.
That's pretty good. Did you keep some of the existing tenants in there, or did everybody leave and you're able to renovate the whole place, or did you have to kind of do it in?
Yeah, so we were lucky with this property. We were able to get vacant possession when we purchased it.
That is
So
good, especially in Ontario, right?
It's very tough to get, and but since we had vacant possession, we were able to start our renovations immediately.
Mhm.
So that worked out quite well, and we were able to get the process moving a little quicker.
That is very cool. So from your investor standpoint, very passive process for them. They put in the money. You did all the work. You and the team did all the work. And then 9 months later, it sounds like they got most of their investment out, yet they're still owners in the property with you. Is that correct? Is that how it works?
Yes, that's correct.
Well, that sounds like a hell of a good deal for you.
And generally, sorry.
Yeah.
So, and generally what we do is if there's a little bit of money still left in the property, we'll use the positive cash. So we'll pay back our investor first.
Right.
Before we start drawing.
Get them all of their capital out as soon as possible. All right. Fantastic. So what market do you like to focus on for these kind of properties, Demetri?
Right now we invest in Hamilton, Ontario. I do live in Stony Creek as part of Hamilton.
Okay.
So that's the city we generally invest in, Greater Hamilton area.
Why is that? I mean, anywhere in the GTA and that whole area seems to be on fire these days. Why do you like Hamilton, besides the fact that it's your own backyard?
The reason why we like Hamilton is because the economic fundamentals are pretty solid here. It's situated quite nicely between Toronto and the US and the Niagara region. There is a very diverse employment market. So we have medical, we have steel, we have technology. There's a lot of construction happening here. So there's because of that, it helps to bring like more tenants and more work opportunities. So it's great for us for that.
Yeah. Now you've been doing this for quite a while now, Demetri. Do you find you've seen, right now at the time that we're doing this, the market's on fire, but you've been through a couple of little market cycles along the way. Have you found that because you're investing in multifamily and mixed use commercial multifamily type properties, that those kind of properties are able to weather the storm better than, let's say, a single family home?
So the recession of 2008, I did have single family homes. And I wouldn't necessarily say that. I think what it mainly comes down to is not leveraging yourself too much. And like, for example, if the market rent is for, $1,300 for a 2-bedroom, for example, like it is higher than that, but I'm just using this as an example. And you can really push your limit and get $1,600 a month. The calculations, when you analyze your property, you want to do it at a more conservative number, so that if you do end up having a vacancy in that unit and you need to re-rent it in a bad economy, at least you know that it's going to cover your expenses.
You got some cushion.
So that's generally what I've done, is provided a cushion for myself, and that's how we've got through the bad times. So at the end of the day, it's just the numbers. I don't care if the property value goes down a little bit. I know it will go back up in the long run. Mm-hmm. It's just the way real estate cycle goes, but it's just preparing properly and giving yourself a good cushion, and also having a bit of a reserve fund as well. Yeah.
You've said that a couple of times. That's really smart to have that reserve fund, because you never know when that rainy day happens, right? So good to have something put away for that.
Sure.
So Demetri, you've been doing this for quite some time. You've got experience as a realtor as well. What would you say is, when it comes to real estate investing, your unfair advantages?
I think it's kind of finding creative ways to generate more income in properties, maybe that some others don't see.
Like what? What's a good example of something like that?
An example may be like, adding lockers, renting a garage on the property that someone didn't see the opportunity to do, adding a laundry room, stuff like that. And just adding.
So when you say lockers, what kind of locker? Like little mini
storage lockers? Yeah, storage lockers that tenants could rent to store additional items. Maybe it's $25 a month or $50 a month. charging.
Which might not sound like much, but that definitely adds up very quickly over time. I mean,
It does, yes, yeah.
so the example where you've got the storage lockers, how many lockers do you have on that particular property?
So like, for example, a fourplex, we have one for each tenant
Mhm.
in the basement area, so they can store their, it's big enough to put a bicycle in and some Christmas decorations and different things like that. So they don't have to, have that in their apartment. They can kind of free up that space.
That's nice. And you charge an extra, how much a month for the locker?
$25 for that type of locker.
Well, so there's $100 a month extra pure profit coming to you, because once you've got it set up, there's no cost in maintaining that. They bring their own lock for their locker. And over the year, that's $1,200, and that makes that makes a nice little difference. Yeah. All right. Same idea with a laundromat. You don't need a whole bunch of units for that to make sense.
It usually works well with at least a minimum of 3 units.
Yeah.
But once we hit about 4 units, we usually put 2 washers and 2 dryers, and tenants do like it, so they don't have to run out to the laundromat, because in some cases you can't always put in suite laundry. There just isn't the space for it in some of the older buildings that we rehab. So by adding the laundry room, say in the basement space, it works out good for us because there's some extra income, but it also is the tenants really appreciate it, because it's just one of those convenient things. They don't have to leave the building in the middle of winter to go to a laundromat, and it's right on site. So
yeah, that's smart. That's smart, because all of those little extra revenue streams make a big difference on the bottom line, and also depending on the size of the property, on the value of the property, because a lot of that's based on its profitability. So that's really, really smart. Very, very cool. So that's a very cool secret sauce that you've got there, Demetri. Now, you've been doing this for quite some time. At the time that we're recording this, we're looking at 16, 17 years you've been investing in real estate. What would be the biggest lesson you've learned so far?
Don't pass up on a good deal. And what I mean by that is, in the past, in my 20s especially, I was self-funding a lot of my deals, and trying to find ways myself to get the down payment, and later on, after meeting people even such as yourself that do joint ventures, and did a lot of them, I started getting into that and realized that there's a good deal. You have to find someone to help you buy that property, whether it's a joint venture or private money. And I think that's a lesson I learned, is don't pass up a good deal.
Yeah, well, it's a good one, especially the more deals that you've seen come and go. So Demetri, obviously you and I are enthusiastic about real estate investing. Do you think that it's for everyone, like being an active real estate investor like you are, going out and finding the deals, getting them under contract, raising the capital, getting the repairs done, managing the tenants, managing the property? Do you think everybody's cut out for that?
I don't think it's for everybody, certainly being an active realtor, but I do think that to some degree real estate investing can be for everybody, but some people may just want to do it passively, so they just want to invest the money and let somebody else take care of everything else. But it certainly can do a lot for someone's life. There's a lot of good things out of real estate, but but passively is another way to do it. But definitely doing all the work and being a working partner or a working investor may not be for everybody, for sure.
Right. So basically, you think the real estate as an investment class is definitely for everyone. Just actively managing the deal itself is not necessarily for everyone, but everyone should be involved one way or the other.
Yes, I think you put it in better words for me.
Well, this has been a lot of fun, Demetri, and I want to congratulate you on everything that you've accomplished so far in your real estate investing career. It sounds like you're up to fantastic things. It sounds like you've got a ton of opportunities and a really good, solid market, and a very good, solid strategy as well. So if people are listening to this and they want to find out more about Demetri Boundris, what should they do?
They can contact They can check out my website, comfortlivingproperties.com, or they can get my email and phone number right off that site.
Perfect. There you go. So I'll make sure we got a link to that. And Demetri, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me, Dave.
All right, everyone, take care. We'll see you on the next episode. Well, hey there. Thanks for tuning into the Property Profits podcast. If you like this episode, that's great. Please go ahead and subscribe on iTunes. Give us a good review. That'd be awesome. I appreciate that. And if you're looking to attract investors and raise capital for your deals, then I'm going to invite you to get a complimentary copy of my newest book, right back there. There it is. The Money Partner Formula. You can get a PDF version at investorattractionbook.com. Again, investorattractionbook.com. Take care.